taking a piss down, Stutz. Where is it? Stutzy girl. Who's a girl? Look at that, eh? Jesus, Stutz. You're smart. You've been on this rope for 20 minutes and you haven't gotten into trouble. So we're getting there. It won't be long and I better tie you up anywhere. That's the way. The good old days. We used to catch our kaimana with ponies, and the ones off the up by the Rangataiki tavern there used to be a battalion in the 1860s. There was a pony express from Taupo to Napier, and they used to swap over there, swap their horses there. And they had the army had these beautiful Roman-nosed horses. A lot of them were red, dark, rich, winey, rony horses. And they got released into the Poikura block, just across the road from the Rangataiki tavern, and behind the Waipanga Falls there, across the Waipanga River. And you've got the Poikura block and the Tarawera block and SF90, SF56, SF58, SF70. The Whakatau runs in behind there as well. And my father used to hunt that country extensively when we were younger. And he used to leave me in the van on my own because I was way too young to accompany him. As in, well, I wasn't too young, I just made too much noise. I'm a bit of a clumsy person when it comes to walking. And we were doing quick hunts, so I preferred to stay behind. And anyway, so I made friends with the wild horses. It took a bit of doing, but I did. And one of my favourite horses was Billy Boy. He was a big, rich, red roan, bigger than Stutz, probably about 18 hands. And I befriended him. It took a bit of work. And I used to roll like tumbleweed, and eventually they'd come up and gather around me. You have to lie there for hours. And they'd come up and sniff and snort and carry on, and eventually they'd accept you. And being young, you know, your vibrations are way different to being an adult. So you've got a better chance of taming a wild animal, or being eaten by it, I think, as well. It goes both ways. But anyway, to cut to the quick, that was my first introduction to horses, and I ended up snaring Billy Boy and on some soft rope in between the trees. I chased him, and he grabbed, and I had a punga tied to the snare, and he dragged that around for a while until he got really tired. It was brush actually, not a punga. That was later on in the kaimana was that we did that up in the Happy Valley. And yeah, so we used to catch quite a few horses. But Billy Boy was probably a memorable moment because A, it was my first horse, and B, it was a real horse. I mean, you just don't get them these days. The horse he had a 5-gated amble. He ambled. Not only did he trot and walk and canter, he ambled. And he could change gear or change foot, change lead according to the terrain when you were riding him, and it was as smooth as. Those army boys used to ride their horses for miles. Now, admittedly, that horse hadn't been ridden by anybody, you know, in the army. It was several generations later, but nevertheless, the pedigree was stamped all over him, and I don't know what breed they are, but they don't have them anymore. And anyway, a fella by the name of Sonny Rivers started up a deer recovery out of Taupo in 1970, and him and I believe Joe Keeley and the Collins boys, between them all, they shot them all out. And that's what I was told anyway. Whether it be true or not, I don't know. But let's just put it this way. I was only, what was I, 12 and a half, 13, and Billy Boy got shot. And when I found out, I got all scratched up over it because I was pretty angry, pretty mad. And yeah, we found the culprit from Te Whaiti, Minganui. and he felt the anger of David. Exactly. He felt the anger of David, and he never forgot it. To this day, I bet you anything you like. How many years later is that? 50 more? Yeah, 50 more. But never mind. Those are one of my experiences, first experiences with horses. So New Zealand has still got 300 or 400 wild horses up in the Kaimanawas. I haven't seen them recently, but they're up there. And I do go up there for walks and have a look around. And I had a life-changing experience up there. I got caught out in the weather one time. And I'll never forget it, I just about froze. And nevertheless, we survived, that's all that matters. The weather turned so quickly, I couldn't believe it, and it just dumped snow and rain and wind and everything. Is just way too quick. In the old days, we used to be able to anticipate it, but not now. Us hunter-gatherers are in trouble. We have to go really prepared. We have to go prepared for the worst, even if we're just going for a quick hunt, because I found that out, and that was in 1968, 69, yeah, around there, 1970. Up in the back of Cleven's Road, he was hunting sika deer, and he says, I'll only be a couple of hours, I'm just going to hop in here and hunt this block out, and I'm coming back. And the weather turned within 20 minutes. I kid you not. And yeah. So Stutz, I'm proud of you. You're 10 out of 10 today. So this has taken approximately, I don't know, about 10 weeks to teach her to tether. Sort of once a week, once or twice a week. She knows how to get itself untangled. She knows how to walk forward on the rope or walk back towards the hitching post. Her mane's starting to come back to a natural look now rather than that flash la-di-da look. I can't stand it. I like it when it's all tangled up and dreadlocked up, because that's normal, that's natural. That's the way they are. And I love the natural look. I don't like that flash, poncy look. I can't stand it. I like a horse to be natural. She's got good hooves, and we put Stockholm tar on her hooves, and she gets shot occasionally, and yeah, she gets wormed occasionally, 4 times a year. Well, I've wormed her 5 times actually. I've had her for just coming on 12 months, and I've wormed her 5 times. Yeah. She was fed right up until, hard fed right up until, and kept in the back of my yard, my lease, my workplace, where there's enough grass for her to give her, to warm her belly, put it that way. Roughage, yeah, to give her enough roughage. But I must scrape those bots off. The bot flies have had a go at it. Yeah. Hey Stutzo, little Stutzy, 17 hands I'd say, if not more. She might not look it, but she is. She'd weigh about 650 to 700, I beg your pardon, 550 to 600, maybe more. The old boys in the stockyards when we didn't have scales, they were only 10 kilo out. It was incredible. Stock buyers. Yeah. Stutz prefers the short pick to that. Yeah. Hey Stutzy. And she's got some royal blood in her. Absolute royal blood. There's the Tristan and Zabeel on the sire line, and there's on the dam line there's Master Craftsman, Starway, Dane Hill, I know Sadler's Wells, yeah, on the who else is there? one that I really like. Absolutely adored that family. They were, the names escape me. Sovereign Path, that's it, Sovereign Path, yeah, Sovereign Path, Sovereign Edition, they're all in there. She's got a bit of grey, you can see it's coming out in her tail. Yeah. She's got some really good old royal bloodlines as well as the modern ones. So she'll make a fantastic broodmare, hopefully. You never know what they can produce. I've seen little horses produce champions. But generally speaking, the horse has got to have a bit of size to be in with a show. So I've been told. I've never had a big horse like this apart from the earlier ones like Billy Boy. But they weren't thoroughbreds, they were standard breds. Or army mounts. Where would they have come from? Probably England. Yeah, they would have come from England.